curious monsters, and welcome to the lab. I'm Teacher Jaffe. And have you ever seen something that just made you go,
What?
or,
Whoa!
because that's exactly me when I tried out this experiment. Today, I have a very easy to do experiment that is sure to make your minds explode. Then after that, we'll talk about it a little. Hold on to your brain fans before we go off and explode them with this amazing, exciting experiment. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe to the channel. That way you'll always find new videos just like this one that will blow your mind. Well, that is if your mind survives. Just kidding, I'm sure it will. For this experiment, all we'll really need is some tissue and liquid soap. But to make it less messy, we'll also need some plastic to cover our workspace. Or you can do the whole experiment from the bathroom. If you don't mind waiting for it to dry, then you won't need a hairdryer. But if you're like me and you want to get to the action right away, then hairdryer. You'll only really need the help of mom or dad with the hairdryer. Other than that, you can do most of this experiment on your own. Here we go! First, we'll need to set up a space to work on. I'm using a plastic envelope so my table won't get messy. Make sure whatever you're using won't absorb the liquid soap. Otherwise, it'll get really wet. Next, take a sheet of tissue and squirt some liquid soap on it. Make sure you get the whole sheet. If you want, you can use a paintbrush to spread it like you would paint. Then, all that's left is to let it dry. I'm a bit impatient, so I'll use a hairdryer. It's not mine, obviously. When you're drying, you'll want to aim the hairdryer down onto the tissue. If you aim it from the sides, the tissue might fly away. Now, all you need to do is test if it works. Wet your hands and wash with the tissue. So, how exactly does that work? Well, to explain that, we'll need to talk a little bit about matter. So what's matter? Nothing! What's matter with you? Huh?
Boo!
Anyway, matter is anything that occupies space and has mass. Basically me, and you, and every single thing around us. Plants matter. Animals matter. Rocks matter. Houses matter. Tables matter. Toys matter. Water matter. Juice matter. Air matter. Parts matter. Here on Earth, matter is usually seen in one of three states. Solid, whose molecules are tightly packed together. These are most of the things around us. These are the things we can touch and hold and squish and stand on. Then there's liquid, whose molecules are loosely packed so that they can flow. These are things like water and juice. And finally, there's gas, whose molecules are even more loose than liquids and that they can flow even more, just like the air around us. Now that we know the different states of matter, the next thing to note is under the right conditions, matter can change states. For example, when water is exposed to cold, the flowing molecules in the liquid start slowing down and then packed tightly together into solid ice in the process called freezing. When that ice is exposed to enough heat, the packed tightly molecules in the ice will start moving and get excited and start drifting away from each other, turning into liquid again in a process called melting. There are other transformations, but the important thing to note in our experiment is the process called evaporation. Evaporation is when liquid turns into gas. When you boil water, the heat makes the already flowing molecules in the water drift even further apart, turning the liquid water into gaseous steam. Sometimes, the heat from the environment is enough to make water evaporate into gas. It doesn't even need to turn into steam. If you leave water out long enough, you'll notice that eventually there's less of it, because the water already evaporated into gas. What we're doing in the experiment is basically evaporating all of the liquid from the tissue. That's why it's not wet anymore. But there is still something left behind. There is still soap on the tissue. It's just dry and solid, which is basically the state we find most soaps anyway. So, when we wet the tissue, the soapy substance reacts with the water just like a normal bar of soap would, and then bubbles. That's it for today. I really enjoyed this experiment. I know it's a good and fun one when it makes me go wow when I try it for myself. I hope it made you go wow. If you enjoyed this video, there are other videos of other experiments on the channel that just might make you go wow too. Look around and see for yourself. Moms and dads, you can find us on Instagram and Facebook. That's the best place to find updates on all things Curious Monster Lab. The links to those will be down below. Gotta go, but before that, always remember, be brave, be kind, and stay curious.